I swear, I didn't even see it coming. One minute I'm sipping my morning coffee, halfway through my Saturday crossword, and the next I am firing up a mobile command bus in my driveway because Brenda from the HOA decided she was smarter than every engineer at VAT combined. I mean, who wakes up and chooses to commit felony-level sabotage over fiber optic cables? Brenda Witherbottom does, that's who. Now, let me back up just a bit. I live in a suburban cul-de-sac in a place called Clearwater Ridge. Quiet, clean, mostly retirees and ambitious lawnmower dads. I moved here 2 years ago, bought the last fixer-upper on the block, and turned it into a fortress of peace. I like my quiet. I like my cat, Shrody. And I like my mobile command bus, Bessie. Bessie used to be a decommissioned news van from Channel 12. I picked her up at auction for peanuts and spent 8 months turning her into a self-contained digital control center. Satellite uplink, solar-powered server racks, the works. Some folks collect stamps. I build emergency infrastructure for fun. Problem is, my HOA president Brenda Witherbottom has hated Bessie since the day she rolled onto my driveway. She's an eyesore, she said. She cast shadows on my tulips, she complained. She once tried to find me because the reflection off her antenna apparently spooked her dog. But I played it cool. I kept the van registered, insured, parked within regulation lines. I even wrapped her with a VYNYL skin to make her blend angry and minimal, nothing flashy. Still, that didn't stop Brenda from going full Orwell. A week before the incident, she emailed the entire neighborhood about gnome uniformity compliance. That's not a joke. She actually threatened fines to anyone whose decorative gnomes exceeded 12 inches or lacked aesthetically neutral attire. I ignored it. Most of us did. But I had a feeling she was spiraling. And then Saturday hit. At exactly 6:47 a.m., my Wi-Fi dropped. No signal. At first, I thought Shrody had knocked over a router again. He's got beef with blinking lights. But the router was fine. My phone had no bars. The whole block went deadline lines, cable, internet. That's when I noticed the freshly filled dirt patch at the corner utility box. You ever have that moment when your gut knows before your brain can catch up? I grabbed my boots and jogged over. And there she was, Brenda, standing there in gardening gloves, a mini shovel in one hand, and a smug look that could curdle milk. "What did you do?" I asked. She didn't flinch. "I fixed a problem," she said. "Those cables have been interfering with my soil's natural rhythm." I blinked. "You saw what saw?" "My tulips haven't bloomed properly in years," she went on, "and I've read studies about electromagnetic stress." I had no choice. I wanted to scream, but instead, I took a breath and said, "Brenda, you just cut off internet access to the hospital." Her face twitched. "Well, maybe they shouldn't rely on magic wires under public land." That's when I bolted back to my house. 3 minutes later, Bessie's systems were humming. Now, to be clear, I didn't build Bessie for neighborhood turf wars. But she's got a satellite uplink capable of supporting secure networks in disaster zones. It took me 2 tries and a firmware update, but within 20 minutes, I had temporary internet restored for most of the block, and more importantly, St. Jude Memorial Hospital. Turns out, the hospital's entire remote monitoring system was tied into that line. Cardiac telemetry, remote consults, digital patient logs all blinking red until Bessie kicked in. I called the police. Not out of spite, okay, maybe a little, but because this was no longer HOA nonsense. This was criminal infrastructure tampering. 2 officers showed up, Officer Gaines and his rookie partner, Morales. Brenda met them at the end of her driveway, like she'd called them herself. "I want that bus towed," she barked. "It's broadcasting unauthorized frequencies." Gaines gave her a long stare, then looked at me. "Sir, do you have any proof she caused the outage?" "Check the utility box," I said. "There's a half-buried shovel next to a butchered fiber trench. And I've got timestamps. Also, the hospital's IT director is calling me in 5 minutes if you'd like confirmation." Brenda kept yapping about HOA bylaws and property vy rational integrity, while Morales followed me to the curb. He looked at the shredded cables and let out a low whistle. She really did it with a garden shovel? Like a bandit in broad daylight, I said. Not long after that, the cavalry arrived. Gus and Earl, contracted by the Fiber Pro V-Wider, showed up in a cherry picker truck and a van stuffed with splicing gear. Gus was all mustache and duct-taped boots, while Earl looked like he'd just rolled out of a 70s biker bar. "Which one of y'all is Mikey?" Gus asked. "That'd be me. You the guy keeping the hospital online?" Earl added. I nodded. "You're buying lunch." They got to work right away, laying out fiber strands like spaghetti on a folding table. Brenda came back with an iced tea and planted herself 2 feet from their cones. "You can't repair that here. I have an HOA meeting in an hour." "I don't want." Earl cut her off. "Ma'am, if you touch that cone, I will duct tape you to your own begonias." I'm not proud of it, but I clapped. The cops warned Brenda to step back. She didn't listen. She tried to pull Gus's measuring tape from his hand. That was enough. Officer Gaines had her in cuffs before she could launch into her usual speech about frequencies and VY brations. Charged with felony vandalism and obstruction of emergency services. The cable got repaired. Hospital systems went back online. Gus and Earl patched the trench so clean it looked like new. By nightfall, I was back on my porch with Schrody on my lap and a slice of peach cobbler Sarah from down the street brought over. Word spread fast. I started getting thumbs-ups from neighbors who used to avoid me. Someone left a thank you card with hand-drawn cats in my mailbox. The hospital sent me a plaque. The city sent me a certificate. Brenda? She got 15 months probation, a community service sentence, and a restraining order keeping her 50 feet away from all utility boxes. Best part? The HOA voted her out the next week. We got a new President Carlos, the guy with the koi pond and the 3-legged bulldog. He doesn't care about gnome height. He just wants working streetlights and enough volunteers for trash day. And Bessie? She's still parked in my driveway. Only now, she's got a little decal on the side that says, "Saw, this van saves lives, saw." Funny how quickly a VY Lane can write herself out of the story. Anyway, that's my tale. If you've ever had a neighbor like Brenda, or if your HOA's ever crossed a line that made you want to fire up your own command, drop it in the comments. Let's hear it. Was I right to take matters into my own hands? Or should I have let the fiber sit dead and let the hospital wait? Let's talk about it. Because these neighborhoods, they only work when people do. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story on Store of Good Stories. If this story touched your heart or made you think, don't forget to hit like and share the video to spread this positive message to more people. And if this is your first time here, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of the meaningful stories we share every week. Your support is the biggest motivation for Store of Good Stories to keep bringing heartfelt and valuable stories to you. See you in the next video.